The European Union presents itself as a global defender of human rights, with its treaties committing to promoting freedom of religion or belief, not only within Europe, but in its external relations. Yet, across South Asia, a region where the EU invests billions of euros in aid and trade incentives, religious persecution is on the rise. Almost every South Asian country formally guarantees freedom of religion in its constitution, but these protections are increasingly ignored in practice.
The problem is increasingly getting worse because of the flux, the political flux in the region that always has a repercussion on religious minorities, the poor rule of law, and also growing religious nationalism on the ground. You are seeing this in all countries, whether it's Pakistan, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. Everywhere you see this increasingly a problem, the religion mixing with politics and the fact that it plays out on religious minorities.
For the European Union, this creates a serious credibility challenge. How can the EU ensure that funding and trade advantages do not indirectly enable abuse? Pakistan offers a litmus test of EU influence. The EU-Pakistan trade relationship is uneven. Pakistan heavily depends on the EU market under the so-called GSP Plus trade scheme. This trade scheme grants preferential access to European markets with duty-free or reduced tariffs. In return, countries must comply with human rights, labour, environmental and governance conventions. But Pakistan's blasphemy laws, among the strictest in the world, have long been a point of concern. Pakistan has never been suspended from the GSP Plus scheme, raising questions about how seriously the EU enforces its own conditions.
The blasphemy laws were weaponized in the 1980s. And this was a time when the country was ruled by a military dictator, Zia-ul-Haq. And to give legitimacy to his rule, he appeased the religious forces by introducing Section C to the blasphemy statutes. Religious parties, they have been capitalizing on that. And the ordinary common Pakistani, they have been made to believe that these laws are divine and can't be touched. So, when the Western countries, they make a demand of repealing the laws, religious sentiments in Pakistan, they go wild because those people think that these laws are divine and you can't really amend them.
How far can Brussels push for reform without triggering backlash or destabilizing the country politically? According to Pakistani journalist Asha John, despite the risks, EU pressure has actually had an impact. In recent months, authorities have cracked down on extremist groups.
Recent months, there has been a vicious crackdown. Several have been arrested, their assets have been frozen. So, and this is due to the pressure exerted by the EU. Even the movement on the child marriage bills, it is because of the international pressure, the EU's pressure, that these bills have been enacted in at least two in the federal capital and in the Balochistan province.
Asha John stresses, however, that legislation alone is not enough.
Getting something done is one thing. Implementation, making sure that the laws are implemented, is another thing.
Shagufta Kauza, a Christian woman from Punjab, was sentenced to death under Pakistan's blasphemy laws after a false accusation.
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਿਸ਼ਾਨਾ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ 10 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਗੋਜਰਾ ਬਸਤੀ ਜਲਾਈ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਸੇ ਗੋਜਰਾ 'ਚ ਮੈਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਅਟੈਕ ਹੋਇਆ ਮਸੀਹ ਹੋਣ ਦੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਤਾਈ ਗਈ
I was attacked, I was targeted because before that, few months early also in the same area, city, Gojra, that was attacked by the mob. Many people, houses were burned, 9 people were burned alive in that area. And I was accused of blasphemy simply because of I was Christian and I was this time target for Muslim extremists to persecute Christian. And this time was my number, and they just simply accused me because of my faith.
She spent 8 years in solitary confinement. Her paralyzed husband was also imprisoned. Their children witnessed beatings and suffered lasting trauma. Her case might have ended differently without European intervention. After the European Parliament passed an emergency resolution in 2021, pressure mounted on the Pakistani authorities and she was released.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਖੁਦਾਵੰਦ ਦਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ ਅਦਾ ਕਰਨੀ ਕਿ ਖੁਦਾਵੰਦ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਤਿਆਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਖੁਦਾਵੰਦ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਸੀਲਾ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਦਾ ਵਸੀਲੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੁਦਾਵੰਦ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਕੀਤਾ
I'm very thankful to God that God has used European Parliament for my freedom.
European lawmakers warn that EU leverage is often inconsistently applied. Slovak MEP Matej Tonin said that the EU must more closely track how its funds are used and whether promised reforms actually materialize.
We have good intentions but terrible realization. What we should do at least is to have more strict monitoring how the money which European Union is paying, for example, to Pakistan is used. Are they really conducting all those changes what they promised? They promised that they will do many changes to get this money or to get those trade benefits. We are talking in billions, not millions, and we should look more closer what's in reality on the terrain going on. That in the end, this money is not used to support values which are in a contrary of a European ones.